we have another meeting that starts at 4 o'clock. So it'll be kind of a rush through, so we're going to go see the ones that you guys want to see the most. And anyway, I guess we'll get started. I want to introduce Janet Seymour. I think most of you already know her, but she's our representative not our representative, she's the outreach coordinator for Wisconsin Historical Society. Are you going to be able to?
I don't need that. I can just talk from my notes.
Okay.
I'll have Brenda email it out for everyone.
Okay, perfect. I just need a cheat sheet.
Do you want me to add?
Sure, we can do that.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So nice to see you on this cold but sunny and beautiful morning. As Tammy mentioned, I'm Janet Seymour. I'm the Director of Outreach at the Wisconsin Historical Society. And it's always wonderful to be here at the Pioneer Village Museum and in the Northwest region to meet with all of you. So great to see you this morning. My colleague Kurt Griesmer will be joining us later in the morning for a presentation from the Wisconsin Historical Society. So it's always a pleasure to be traveling around the state and out in community and meeting with all of you. So as we get started this morning, I do have a few updates to share with you, but we want to do a quick round of introductions and say good morning to each other. So just briefly share who you are and where you're from this morning. Gary, are you willing to kick us off?
Gary Haley from the Amory Historical Society.
I'm Diana Haley from the Historical Society. And I brought the books for the book exchange if anybody's interested. And we also started a couple things. We got a walking tour of Amory, this is a sample, and a brochure that you're all welcome to.
I'm Ron Kress from Clear Lake Museum there, Clear Lake.
And I'm Tim Weiss, and the same one.
I'm Sarah Pika. I'm from the Pioneer Village Museum.
John Hussman, Pioneer Village Museum.
June Olson, Pioneer Village.
Mark Noberfold, Pioneer Village.
Or you know, before Pioneer Village. Rosalie Kittleson from St. Croix Falls.
William Johnson from the Frederick Area Historical Society.
Dave Skrupke from Turtle Lake.
Pat Keller, Birchwood Area Historical Society.
Mike Newman from the Bruce Area Historical Society.
Leanne Newman, Bruce Area Historical Society.
Michelle Starbuck, Bluff Museum and Historical Society. Mai Schultz from Burnett County Historical Society.
Catherine Burford from the Burnett County Historical Society. Tammy Schultz, Pioneer Village Museum.
Brenna Weston, Polk County Historical Society Museum.
Kathy Schmidt, Burnett County Historical Society.
Roberta Daggy, Burnett County Historical Society.
Okay.
Mr. Hansen.
And Russ Hansen, who I'm a hyperactive person, so by having a camera, I'm allowed to get a wander around and do all sorts of things and not bother anybody, right? I have to go show you. I brought this along for Brenna from the Polk County Museum. The Obsolete Media Lab at the Sterling, Eureka, and Laketown Historical Society in Cushing is doing a project with the county where we take all of their old negatives, box of maybe several hundred negatives. They're old tapes, they're old VHS tapes. They're 35 millimeter slides and digitizing everything. We're probably 2/3 at least of the way through, unless you find more boxes.
I tried.
Yeah. It's an interesting project, and the goal is, in the end, a YouTube channel with old videos and audios, whatever use they want to use for the other things. But the Obsolete Media Lab is open for people to do things. We brought back a scrapbook from Birchwood that we had digitized, a quick way of doing it, and that too. So if you're interested in having stuff done you're welcome to come over. Mondays 10 to 2 and by appointment at the kitchen. So is that enough?
Oh, Brenna doesn't want to.
I'm gonna forget it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna forget it.
For
so-
sight. Aw, thank you, Russ. The Obsolete Media Lab is one of my absolute favorite local history projects that Russ has been leading, and so many different communities and organizations have benefited from. So we appreciate you, Russ,
And just energy.
yeah, and your energy. You just wander around all you want. You
You bring
have
us
enough
any-
energy for the rest of us, so. Well, I have a few updates from the Wisconsin Historical Society to share with you this morning. And you can take notes as I share some of these updates. But I do have a PDF document with all of the dates and information and websites that I'll ask Brenna to email out to the group here while we're meeting this morning. So that way you can email it out to folks in your organization who may not have been able to attend, or you can print it out, but we'll get that emailed out this morning. So feel free to jot down notes, but we will email out all of the dates and website and other information. So the first thing that I want to share with you is we are actively planning for the 19th Annual Local History and Historic Preservation Conference. So each year the Society hosts a statewide conference. It's one of the largest gatherings in the state for local history and historic preservation. I know many of you have attended over the years. If you haven't attended before, I want to encourage you to consider attending this year. It will be October 15th through 17th, and this year will be in Baraboo. The conference will be at Ho Chunk Gaming and Conference Center. And I know that for those of us who live further north, there's travel and the time and expense it takes to travel to the conference. But I do think Baraboo is a pretty accessible location. That easy drive in on 94. And so we're also really excited because the local and regional affiliates around Baraboo are so excited to host us for different events and tours. So the Ringling Theater, the Mid-Continent Railway Museum, the Sauk County Historical Society, Portage, all of those folks right now are busy planning special events and tours for all of the conference attendees. And so there's sessions, there's workshops, there's networking time and tours. And we're just really excited about this year with the number of local tours and events that will be part of the conference. And our two keynote speakers are joining us this year. The first is Bill Quackenbush. Bill is the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer for the Ho-Chunk Nation. And he's been working closely with the Wisconsin Historical Society on the recovery of the ancient canoes in Lake Mendota. You may have seen the news coverage really from all over the nation and the world about that incredible project. So we are grateful that Bill will join us. And then Melanie Adams is the Executive Director of the Smithsonian's Anacostia Community Museum. So Melanie will be traveling to Wisconsin to meet with us and share her expertise about history and community and working to serve communities and audiences. So we're very excited about the conference this year, and again, hope you consider joining us. So October 15th through 17th in Baraboo. So we have some exciting updates from the outreach team for new things happening in 2025. The first news that I'll share with you is that we have hired a new team member. And unfortunately, Dan was not able to join us today because we have a really busy travel week this week. And so we're kind of pacing ourselves this week, and we'll be traveling to a conference later this week. But at your next meeting and future meetings, you will be meeting Dan Soulier, Dan is the new Outreach and Partnership Coordinator, and he's based at the Northern Great Lakes Visitor Center in Ashland. Dan started at the end of February. He is a great addition to the team. I think many of you have received a welcome introduction email from Dan. If you haven't, we'll share out Dan's email and phone number so that you can feel free to connect with him. Dan is very talented and excited about his new position with WHS. He brings more than a decade of experience working at colleges and universities in the Midwest, where he focused on community development and support services. And for the past few years, he's collaborated with tribes and various local, state, and federal partners in the region in his role at the Great Lakes Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission at Glickwick. So Dan is well connected in the region and has some great experience working with adults and youth and education, as well as all types of partners across the region. So Dan is very much looking forward to meeting you, to attending future meetings, to connecting with you. So I encourage you to reach out to Dan.
The
Yes.
meeting you're talking about, you mean the one with the Northern Wisconsin Heritage Council, right, the May one?
Yes. So at
I
the
don't know if
next,
they all talked about that yet.
oh, I'm getting ahead of myself in my brain because I read an email from Tammy. So at the next meeting of the Northwest Consortiums, Northwest
Northern
Museums.
Wisconsin Museum, or Heritage Council. That's the one that we joined last year, and they do the Clio tours. They are going to be meeting here on May 9th, and the reason they're meeting here is they're hoping that all of you will attend. And you're going to want to anyway, because the speaker, they're talking about, well, first of all, you're going to want to meet Dan, but also because the speaker is going to be talking about navigating these everything that's going on right now with our small museums. What are we going to do about funding, things like that. So it will be a really good one to attend. Okay, back to you.
Thank you. Thanks for that clarification. So yeah, Dan is planning to attend that May Northern Heritage Council meeting. And he will also plan on joining you for future meetings of the Northwest Museums Consortium. So yes. So you'll have many opportunities this spring and over the summer and into the fall to meet.
What's his last name again?
Soulier, so Soulier.
Soulier. French fur trade, is that American?
Yes, I would assume so. A lot of French names, yes, in the region, so. All right. And then a couple of other updates. We have been talking about the US 250th, celebrating 250 years for the United States, coming up in 2026. We've been sharing information about an initiative that you can participate here coming up very soon in April, the Two Lights for Tomorrow initiative. That's been shared at recent meetings. But I did bring along a couple of extra copies of this program handbook from the American Association for State and Local History. This is a planning guide for small to medium-sized organizations as you're considering possibly sharing a display, an exhibit, a program, some type of event in 2026 as part of US 250th commemoration. This planning book from AASLH is a really helpful tool. It's also available online. If you go to the AASLH website, you can download and or print this booklet from there, but I did bring along a few copies. And in the next couple of weeks, the Wisconsin Historical Society will be launching a new webpage on our website that will list the different activities like Two Lights for Tomorrow, beginning here in April of 2025. And then as we get into 2026, we'll have a web page with some resources for local history and cultural organizations, but also a web page where you can list all of the events that are happening in your community. So you'll be able to submit a form, and then your local event will be listed on the statewide page. And I will send out email updates when that web page is ready and the form is ready. But it'll be really simple. You'll just fill out a form, should take, 3 to 5 minutes. And then we'll have this wonderful web page of all the different activities that are happening across the state next year.
Do we do a different form for each activity you plan? Like if you do it multiple ways?
Yeah, probably. I think so.
I couldn't hear that.
Tammy asked if you have multiple events planned, if you'll need to do a separate form for each event, and I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. So it depends on how the IT sets up the form, but I'll ask them that question. And then also coming in June of 2025, so just a couple months, the outreach team is developing an online resource library that will be added to the WHS website. So a lot of the resources that we share with you now by email, or we might mail you copies of articles or technical leaflets, we're building out a new online library that has many of the resources that we recommend for local history affiliates and other community partners. So again, we're building up some more online resources for all of you to be able to easily access templates, sample forms, technical leaflets, other resources for history organizations and museums. And for those of you who have used the Wisconsin Historical Society website over the years and have found it difficult to navigate and find things, yes, me included, great news, this summer we will be launching a brand new Wisconsin Historical Society website. Our team and contractors have been working really hard on this the last couple of years. And it's almost ready to launch. So again, we will share that good news with you when it's all ready and set to go. But finally, a new website that should be much more user-friendly and easier to find the information you're looking for. All right, a reminder that mini grants, how many of you here have received a mini grant in the past?
In the past.
Okay, great. So this year's funding is available, a total of $10,000. So you can apply for up to $700 for a collections care project. And a reminder that those applications are due May 15th. And you can email me or any of the outreach team members if you need help with that application. So Tammy asked me this morning about just checking in on grant funding and how recent cuts or changes in, especially in federal grant programs, are impacting for example, the IMLS or NEH grants, for example. And we have gotten a couple of questions about whether the WHS mini grants will be available this year. So I did want to share that the mini grant program, that is funded through private endowment dollars. So there's no change or impact to that program. So if you are planning on applying for a mini grant, you should go ahead and do that. The Wisconsin Historical Society does have a couple of active federal grants for IMLS and NEH, but those are for special projects. And so we're in the process of working through.
Are you going to find sponsors?
Yeah, a lot of the Wisconsin Historical Society activities, especially for the Wisconsin History Makers Tour and other special projects. Those are part of our campaign for the Wisconsin History Center. And so, for example, the Wisconsin History Makers Tour that's coming to your region starting in June, that is funded partially by grants, but also by campaign dollars, donors to the Wisconsin Historical Society, as well as a sponsorship from Culver's. And so the Wisconsin Historical Society is fortunate in that we have multiple and diverse streams of funding so that we can continue to offer the Wisconsin History Makers Tour, to continue our outreach with local history organizations. So I think just at a high level, for right now, you shouldn't notice any particular change in what we have planned this summer for Wisconsin History Makers Tour or mini grants.
So 3 that I'm wondering about, and they're not through, one is National History Day, is that, I read something that it was cut, because that was through the IMLS, right? And so do you know if that will continue?
Well, so the National Endowment for the Humanities has provided funding to the National History Day program, but at the national level. So the Wisconsin
State one will go, but they won't go on to national.
I think they're fundraising now, Tammy, to try to make sure that the national contest for National History Day happens.
Do you know about Wills or Recollection Wisconsin?
I don't yet. You would have to speak, directly with the program staff there, but again, they have different sources of funding that come in. It's not just all from a single grant or a single entity. So the History Day program in Wisconsin is funded through the Wisconsin Historical Society. And so we're finishing up our regional contests now, and then we'll be holding the state contest. I think the news or the questions you've heard about National History Day are at the national office level. So, and I think they're actively fundraising so that in the hopes that they can offer that program. So, yes.
Those of us back by the furnace here really can't.
Yeah, we can't.
I'm gonna shut the furnace off.
You can't hear hardly anything. Like, I didn't hear any of Ian's questions.
Is it hard to?
Should be on video out tomorrow.
When you get cold, let me know.
Thank you.
I'll turn it back on.
Tammy was asking about the National History Day program. Many of our students across Wisconsin participate in that program. And so the Wisconsin Historical Society operates and runs that National History Day program here in Wisconsin. So right now the students are finishing up their regional contests and then moving on to the state contest in Madison. That makes a big difference, doesn't it? Okay. All right. So I encourage you to consider applying for a mini grant. Again, applications are due May 15th. And then many of you here may be hosting one of the Wisconsin History Makers Tour programs. So the Wisconsin Historical Society is offering the Wisconsin History Makers Tour. We launched in the fall of 2023, and we'll be traveling the state through 2027. So while our current Wisconsin History Museum is closed, it's actually demolished now. We're groundbreaking on April 23rd. We will be traveling the state, so bringing programs and outdoor exhibits, installations, speakers, all sorts of programs to all 6 regions across the state. And the Northwest region is the next one, so beginning in June, many of the communities, local historical societies, public libraries, other cultural organizations will be hosting History Makers Tours. And in the email that we send out, we'll send a link to that website So you can take a look through and see where the nearest program or exhibit or outdoor installation is scheduled for this summer. So we'll be in the Northwest region from June through December.
So the mini grant specifics are available on Wisconsin History Society's site?
Yep.
Okay,
I will put the direct link in there so you don't have to search for it.
okay.
But basically up to $700 for collections care. So archival supplies, digitization equipment, climate control, so humidifier, dehumidifiers. A lot of folks use those funds to purchase Past Perfect software or other collections management software. So there's a variety of categories that you can apply for.
So publishing, is there anything about that?
There is not.
There is not, okay.
No.
Janet?
That's a challenging one to find funding for.
The History Makers Tour, are the locations already set?
They primarily are set. They're finishing up identifying and scheduling with partners in the region, and so I can share the email address of who to contact if you haven't been in conversation yet with the team that's planning that and you're interested.
Okay.
So I'll include that.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Questions about WHS, about local history outreach, mini grants?